Hello everyone, welcome you all UPSC-PCS aspirants. Today topic is Constitution. In this lecture, I am going to cover what is Constitution, how it evolves, and sources of the Constitution and types of Constitution. Before going to the lecture, I want to ask you two questions. First question: is Constitution express fundamental identity of the people? Is Constitution express fundamental identity of the people? And second question: from which year onwards we celebrating Constitution Day? From which year onwards we celebrating Constitution Day? If you already read about it, just answer these two questions in the comment box, and then back to our lecture. What is Constitution? Constitution is the political frame based on which principles and laws of a country are framed. Political framework based on which principles or laws of a country are formulated. So Constitution is the rule of the land, as the Bible, Quran, Bhagavad Gita. The Constitution of India is also rule of the land for the people of India. Okay, and it's provide a set of basic rules, that allow for minimum coordination, amongst the members of the society. So మనకు ఇప్పుడు ఓటింగ్, వెన్ కమింగ్ టు ఓటింగ్, పీపుల్స్ డెసిషన్. ఆఫ్టర్ ఓటింగ్, ఇట్స్ representatives decisions in the assembly and parliament. సో ఇట్ స్పెసిఫైస్ హూ హ్యాస్ ద పవర్. సో ఇది చేయడానికి ఎవరికి పవర్ ఉంది. సో ఓటింగ్ రైట్స్ నుంచి ప్రొసీజర్ ఇన్ ద అసెంబ్లీ అండ్ ఇన్ ద పార్లమెంట్. సో హూ హ్యావ్ ద పవర్ టు మేక్ డెసిషన్స్, అండ్ ఈ డెసిషన్ తీసుకోవడానికి ఎవరికి పవర్ ఉంది అనేది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ యొక్క సెకండరీ ఫంక్షన్. So government can impose on its citizens. So okay, and fourth one, it enables the government to fulfill the aspirations of society. So society aspirations కి ఫుల్ఫిల్ చేసేదానికి అలాగే ఒక జస్ట్ సొసైటీని క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి ఎలాంటి రూల్స్ కానీ లేకపోతే ఎలాంటి లాస్ కానీ కావాలో, సో అది గవర్నమెంట్ చేసేటట్టు. సో ఎనేబుల్స్ ద గవర్నమెంట్ టు ఫుల్ఫిల్ ద ఆస్పిరేషన్స్ ఆఫ్ సొసైటీ అండ్ క్రియేట్ కండిషన్స్ ఫర్ ద జస్ట్ సొసైటీ. Okay, and lastly, it expresses the fundamental identity of the people. So you already in our previous lecture మనం preamble class లో నేర్చుకున్నాం. So in preamble class you can see here in the preamble starts with we the people of India, and it's end with in our Constituent Assembly this 26th day November 1949 do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution. So okay, so you can see here we the people of India and give to ourselves. So ఇక్కడ ఏం రిప్రజెంట్ చేస్తున్నది అంటే we are belongs to one country, and it also expresses the fundamental identity. So it fundamental identity of a people. Okay, so this is the fifth function. Then what is constitutionalism? So constitutionalism origin from Magna Carta. So it's a Magna Carta of King John of England, and it also evolved from English Bill of Rights. Okay, so then we go to timeline and formation of constitution. So how constitution evolves. Okay, just we have glance about various things. First thing, on 9th December, 1 minute, I want to take this. So on 9th December 1946, the formation of Constituent Assembly, where the Muslim League boycotted. And on 11th December 1946, Rajendra Prasad elected as president. And 13th December 1946, objective resolutions passed by Jawaharlal Nehru. So in this objective resolution, Jawaharlal Nehru called India as a independent, sovereign and republic. India is independent, sovereign republic. Okay, and then 22nd January 1947, objective resolution was adopted. And 22nd July 1947, national flag adopted. And 29th August 1947, drafting committee was adopted. So I will give details about the drafting committee in the next class. And we start only 141 26th November 1949 Constitution adopted by Constituent Assembly, and 24th January the last meeting of Constituent Assembly. Last meeting of Constituent Assembly. 24th Jan 1950 last meeting of Constituent Assembly, accepted by all. Then 26th January 1950 Constitution come into force, and G.V. Mawalkar. This G.V. Mawalkar is the first speaker. G.V. Mawalkar is the first speaker of the sources of the Constitution. So there are like structural part of the Constitution, philosophical part, and political part. So the structural part of the Constitution are taken from Government of India Act 1935. Government of India Act 1935. Okay. And the philosophical part means fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, so fundamental rights from America, and directive principles of state policy from Irish Constitution. So then political part, the political part is taken from Britain. Okay. So next, so some provisions we adopted from different constitutions of different countries. So first of all, from Government of India Act 1935 we adopted federal scheme, governors and judiciary system, emergency provisions, and public service commissions, state public service commissions, and administrative details. Okay. From Irish Constitution, we take directive principles state policy, and president election procedure, and nomination of Rajya Sabha members. Okay. So then, okay, 1 minute. So from British Constitution, we adopted first past the post election procedure, and parliament form of government, and idea of rule of the law, the institution of speaker and his role, and lawmaking procedure. Along with it, we took single citizenship, bicameralism, and cabinet system of government, and prerogative writs and parliament privileges, and doctrine of pleasure, and tenure of civil servants. Okay. So from French Constitution, we adopted liberty, equality, and fraternity. Along with it, we adopted the word republic, the term republic, which is which is there in the preamble. Okay. So from United States of America, we adopted the character of fundamental rights, and power of judicial review, and independence of judiciary, and removal of Supreme Court High Court judges, and post of vice president, and impeachment of president. So from Canadian Constitution, the quasi federal form of government, and the ideals of residual powers, and center state relations, and appointment of governors. So the appointment of governors is taken from, this provision is taken from Canadian Constitution, not from the British. So this is so where you can do mistakes. Okay. And then second thing, advisory power of Supreme Court. This provision also adopted from Canadian Constitution. Okay. Then so some about Australia. Okay. So from Australia we adopted concurrent list, giant sitting provisions, and freedom of trade, commerce, and intercourse. So German constitution, from German constitution we adopted the provisions like suspension of fundamental rights during national emergency. So these provisions are taken from German constitution. Then come to Russian constitution. So we adopted fundamental duties, and the ideals of justice like socio-economic political ideals of justice in the preamble. So these taken from Russian constitution. Okay. And then South African constitution. So we adopted the procedure of election of రాజ్యసభ రాజ్యసభ ఎంపీ ఎలక్షన్ ప్రొసీజర్ని సౌత్ ఆఫ్రికా నుంచి తీసుకున్నాము. అలాగే అండ్ ది అమెండ్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ ది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. సో ద అమెండ్మెంట్ ప్రొసీజర్ ఆఫ్ ది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఈస్ టేకెన్ ఫ్రమ్ సౌత్ ఆఫ్రికన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. సో ఫైనల్లీ Japan. So from Japan we adopted the procedure established by law. So we are following procedure established by law which was adopted from Japan. Okay. America following due process of law. We are following procedure established by law. So which was taken from an unitary constitution. Federal means separation of powers, and where this constitution is rigid and supremacy of the constitution is overall. So when come to unitary, it's a strong center and single citizenship and the flexible constitution. So this is unitary feature of unitary constitution type. So second thing, so multi-layered and unitary. So you can see multi-layered and unitary type of constitution. So multi-layered means in European Union, so the powers are like dispersed downward and sideways. So we have like we are following like this is the parliament, then state government, central government, state government, and this is panchayats. So we are following three-tier governments, and the powers and so powers are different from the powers are always downwards and upwards. So power variations are always downwards and upwards. So but in the multi-layered constitution, so the powers are fragmented in downwards, at the same time sideways. So that's why it called as a multi-layered. So multi-layered constitution. Then written constitution and unwritten constitution. We have written constitution like when Britain, like British, and some countries have no written constitutions. Rigid and flexible constitution. Rigid means to amend the constitution there is need of special procedure. When come to flexible constitution, it's amendable by simple procedure. So మనం సింపుల్ ప్రొసీజర్తో సింపుల్ ప్రొసీజర్, దానికి సపరేట్ స్పెషల్ ప్రొసీజర్ ఏమో అవసరం లేదు, దాన్ని ఫ్లెక్సిబుల్ అంటాం. సో దెన్ పార్లమెంట్ అండ్ ప్రెసిడెన్షియల్ ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఓకే. అండ్ monarchy and aristocracy. Monarchy and aristocracy and democracy type of constitution. So ruled by group of eminent people is called aristocracy. Democracy means demo means people, cracy means rule. So it's a Greek word. Democracy means people rule themselves. So first question is constitution express fundamental identity of the people? Yes, it express fundamental identity of the people. I already said about this, and you can see in the preamble also where it express like we the people of India. So that's why it express the fundamental identity of the people. Second question, from which year we celebrating Constitution Day of? Second question, from which year we celebrating Constitution Day? So from 26th November 2015. So from 26th November 2015 we celebrating Constitution Day. Okay. మనం అడాప్ట్ చేసుకున్నది ఎప్పుడు? 26th November 1949. So this is adoption, but we celebrating it from 26th November 2015. So this is about today's lecture.